Hey, hello again. I'm Pete.
And I'm Maureen.
And we're back with another podcast, our second podcast. And in this one, we're going to be talking all about some of our Christmas memories growing up. And I'll be telling you later in the podcast about what I think is still the best Christmas tree that anybody could have.
He has no clue.
Welcome to Pete and Maureen Mixing It Up, a weekly podcast. Maureen and I are a married couple. We have been married for over 40 years. We've got 3 adult kids and 3 grandkids who like to think that they're adults. And we have things on our mind. We've got microphones, and we're not afraid to use them. And before we get into the topic for this podcast, I want to say thanks to, we had a piece of email come in.
Great.
Yes, a piece of email poured in from from Ed, who is in Oak Harbor, Washington. I don't know where Oak Harbor is. I think it's up in like the northwest corner, almost into the water part of Washington, I think. And Ed says, hi guys, fabulous. I really enjoyed it. I can't say I agreed with 100% of it, but as you expressed, it's a free country and friends are expected to stay friends even if they disagree. To coin a cliche, agree to disagree agreeably. The subject matter was stimulating, a tad controversial with the right balance of humor blended in. I like the theme music. Another idea for you to try would be to start a group on Facebook, a private page that you can invite listeners to send a request to join and have full monitored dialogue there. It could make for an interesting enhancement and get listeners involved without putting them on the recording. Audio quality and content were excellent. One subject flowed smoothly into the other, no dead air. Keep up the good work, and I look forward to many more episodes. Ed in Oak Harbor, Washington. So thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
We appreciate your listening, and keep those emails coming. And if you want to drop us a line here at the Pete and Maureen Mixing It Up podcast, you can send it to us at Pete and Maureen podcast at yahoo.com.
We got it right
there
this
was
week.
Some confusion last week, but it is Pete and Maureen podcast at yahoo.com. So we're talking about our Christmas memories. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
No, go ahead. You can go.
When I was a kid, Christmas was always a little controversial because, first of all, and I was just thinking about this today, my father, much like me, did not like hanging Christmas lights. And my mother insisted that they be hung all along the front of the house, up on the rain gutter.
Okay.
And up to the peak of the house. I grew up in Old Bridge, New Jersey, which is in Middlesex County. It was a suburban tract community of 700 homes. And all the homes looked alike, pretty much. And our house was painted pink and turquoise.
Wow.
That was mom
Groovy, man.
Mom and Dad bought the house in 1955. And my mom had this thing for pink and turquoise.
Well, I think those were big colors back then.
I remember it being a big argument with them when she told my father, hon, I want the house pink and turquoise. And it got loud because he thought it was totally stupid. But the house became pink and turquoise because what Rose wanted, Rose got. And we had flamingos in the front of our house. They were actually carved out of concrete.
Oh, so no cheap plastic ones for you,
No.
huh?
They were carved out of concrete. And they had like metal legs. And they held a sign in their beaks that had our last name in rhinestones. Okay, so I'm just setting the picture for you, the kind of house that I grew up in. And my father was, I think, I'm figuring if this was 1960, let's say, when I would have been about 6 years old, my father would have been 55. Wow. So he was no
spring chicken.
He was no spring chicken going up, 30 feet on a ladder to put the Christmas lights up on the peak of the house. And I remember the profanity spewing from him at the top of the ladder. And then, of course, you always had the problem with the lights didn't work. You'd plug them in, one goes out, they all go out. And so sometimes the light didn't work, or bulbs would blow out.
Well, you know why that is?
No.
Because they're in series, not parallel.
No, don't start with that. Don't start with electrical theory on me. So a bulb would go out, and my mother would be, we'd go out somewhere, and we'd come home, and the lights would be on, and she'd be, hon, there's a light up there at right off the peak of the house that's out. Yeah, I need you to go up there and fix that. And, then there would be an argument over why he had to go up and fix the light. The other thing was I didn't like Santa Claus.
How could you not
I
like
was
Santa?
afraid. I was, how people are afraid of clowns? Mm-hmm. Santa Claus was my clown.
Okay.
And I can remember my mother dragging me off to the store to see Santa. And you know that scene in Gene Shepard's A Christmas Story where the kid sits on Santa's lap and he's, "Wah!" He's crying, the kid with the goggles and the snap-on hat?
Right.
That was me. I was better dressed.
I hope so.
Rose would never let me be dressed like that. I was always a well-dressed kid, but I would break into hysterics.
Really?
On Santa's lap. Because all that I needed Santa to do, really, and you know what? If my mom could have just said, "Santa, here's what little Pete wants." Blah, 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 blah. Just, "Santa, I don't need to sit on your lap. Just show up at my house, leave the damn toys under the tree, and get the hell out. Take the cookies that I left you and the hot chocolate, enjoy it, and get the hell out, but leave the presents. I don't want to talk to you because you scare the crap out of me." So, for me, that was Santa. And we used to have, in our neighborhood, people would come by at Christmas time, and they'd sing Christmas carols, So there'd be a knock on your door, and people, or they'd call you on the phone sometimes and sing the Christmas carols to you over the phone, as you can hear our phone ringing in the background. And I remember one time they knocked on the door, and my father comes to the door, and he opens it up, and they start singing, "Good King Wenceslas was born on the feast of Stephen." And my father is like, "Get the hell out of here."
Oh, Scrooge.
He did. And my mother was like, "Why? They just want to sing." "What? They don't want to sing. They want to get paid. They expect you to tip them for singing. I'm not paying anybody to sing Christmas carols." And he would close the door on them.
Aw.
Yeah. And
were these little kids or were they grown-ups?
No, they were grown-ups from the neighborhood.
Aw.
But, I'd go to school a couple of days later, and it would be, "Hey, Pete's father kicked, my mother and father showed up with the neighbors at their house the other night to sing Christmas carols, and Pete's father kicked them out. What's going on with that?"
How embarrassing.
Yeah. So, for me, that's kind of like memories of my Christmas. The good part was I did get spoiled rotten.
Well, only child.
I was an only child, and my birthday, as you know, is December 27th, right? So in my family, there was none of this fobbing off one gift and say, "Oh, well, here you go, Petey. This is for Christmas and for your birthday." Oh, no. You get me a birthday present and a Christmas present. None of this 2 for 1.
Well, you're still like that.
I'm still like that. But, and invariably, I got 2 presents.
Oh, you should, especially when you're a little kid.
Damn right I should. And I
mean,
still should.
If you were born in a different time of year, you'd have 2 presents, so why not?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
So I remember one time Santa came to the house. Mr. Voden, Walter Voden, who lived diagonally across from my house, showed up, a.k.a. Santa, to bring me a gift.
Oh, that was nice.
And he shows up, and my mom and dad are like, "Peter, come into the kitchen. Somebody's here with a gift for you." And I take one look, and I'm like,
Aw.
And I took the gift, and I ran like hell So that was Christmas in my house.
Oh, fun times,
Yeah.
fun times.
So what about yours?
Oh, well, it's, I'm one of 3 children, so I didn't get spoiled necessarily.
Gee, that's too bad that you had such a deprived childhood. I'm really sorry.
You
about
had to
that,
turn it
Maureen.
into that, right? But I can remember you're talking about decorating the house.
Yeah.
Like, my mother was always, like, wanted a tasteful house. She would, make it different every year. We never did the same thing. And I remember one year she found these pink lights.
Mm-hmm.
And we put them in those candles that go in the window, those electric candles with the little bulbs on them. And she had our whole house was pink. But it was like it had a soft rosy glow. It was very beautiful. And then on our wreath, we had white twinkle lights, and she had a nice spotlight on the door, and very understated, but very, very pretty. Now, our next door neighbor, she was of the school. The more lights, the more stuff you could put out there, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So this one year, when my mother's got this pink thing going, Louise next door comes over and, "Oh, Betty, your house is beautiful." And my mother's all like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." She says, "But you know what you need?" And my mother's like, "What?" "A big string of all different color lights around your door." My mother just about collapsed.
Yeah.
You
Your
know?
mom probably thought it was very gauche.
Well, yeah, I mean, she wouldn't hurt Louisa's feelings for
Yeah,
anything. They were
yeah.
good friends. But on the, my mother's like, "Can you believe that? She doesn't get it. I have this thing going, this monochromatic thing, and all different color lights." And Louisa's the same one that decided the one year she was going to do a pattern with her lights. And we did red, green, all around her porch.
Yeah.
Didn't plan it out ahead of time or see how many light bulbs she needed. So as it goes on, she starts running out of green light bulbs. So it becomes red, green, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. Well, after a while, the reds were running out. So then it became orange, blue, and then it became yellow. And before you know it, it was all different color lights.
Well, that's still something, that I think you can argue about which looks better, different colored lights or all lights in one color. And I think for me it depends on what color the lights are. Like there's this blue. Remember we were driving around the other night and there was that beautiful blue
I think
light?
it's those new LED lights that has a certain they're like a very almost like a cobalt blue.
Yeah,
It's
really
pretty.
really pretty. So and that I could see doing it all in one color. But I think sometimes you want all different color lights.
Well, I think now that they have those the little lights, the LEDs, and
Yeah.
the little twinkle lights, I think the all different colors still look nice. But those big lights that they used to have, I think were a little gaudy sometimes.
Now you can actually change the colors on some of them with the LEDs. You can make them red or whatever you want.
Cool.
We have not put up our Christmas tree yet here in the Torriello house. That will be my duty on Saturday. I will drag up. We haven't had a live tree in a long time,
No.
just for the convenience of it, because it got to be a pain cleaning up all the needles afterwards. And the live tree, it's already pre-lit, and it's got
Not the live tree, the fake tree.
the fake tree. I'm sorry, and I think there's like 1,500 lights or something in ours, and it's got a little touch pad that comes with it, and you can make it one color or different colors, and it's cool. So that's going up on Saturday. Now, which do you like better, though? Do you like the artificial tree or the real tree?
That's a toughie. I mean, in my heart, I really like a real tree. That's what I always had growing up was a real tree. And we'd only put it up like a couple days before Christmas. It wasn't up very long because it would dry out.
Yeah, and I'm not one of these people that, you put the tree up right after Thanksgiving. A week or two before Christmas, I'm fine. Leave it up to Epiphany and then back in the bag and down to the cellar it goes.
But I like the smell of the real tree.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that the real tree looks different every year because there's all different shapes, there's different sizes, there's different kinds of needles. So it makes it a little special. But now that I'm old and the kids are grown, I kind of like the fake one.
The
because
convenience of
the convenience, and you can put it up almost any time.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about the needles dropping. You don't have to worry about it drying out too much. You don't have to keep adding water. So I don't know.
I will follow my ritual again this weekend.
What's your
which
ritual?
Is, I like to get up early on Saturday morning. I work a job where I have to be up at 3:45, and I go into work. I walk into the studio because I work in radio, and
You couldn't tell.
I walk into the studio at about 4:45. So for me to sleep on a Saturday till like 7:30 is like it's anathema. It's a wasted day. So I will do this Saturday what I did last Saturday, putting up the tree. I will get up early. I will be in the diner, my favorite diner, at like maybe 6:15.
And maybe Tony Soprano will be there.
6:30. Oh, Junior Soprano. Now this will be a different diner this week, I think. So I'll get my breakfast, then I'll come home and I will drag the tree up the stairs and set it up. Because remember last year you came down from upstairs and it was up, and
Ta-da!
so that's what I'm going to do this Saturday.
Well, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I like the convenience of the artificial tree, but for all of the Christmas tree wonders that we have now, all of these fancy LED computer operated trees, the best Christmas tree ever.
Oh, here it comes.
Here it comes, folks. This is Pete's pick as the best Christmas tree that you're ever going to have. You need the aluminum Christmas tree with the rotating color wheel. Boom! That's a Christmas tree.
You know who had that?
I did.
Well, you know who else?
No.
My mother's neighbor, Louise, with all different color lights.
Really?
Seriously.
You see? Louise and I would have gotten along great.
Yeah, you would.
That is the best Christmas tree. My mother loved it. We had, in fact, I found on Google, because you can find everything on Google. I looked it up, aluminum Christmas tree with color wheel, and they had the exact one that we had when I was a kid.
How did you know it's the exact one?
Because it looked just like it. It was a gray. It was like a stick,
Okay.
like a cylindrical stick,
Right.
painted gray, and then it had holes
Right.
drilled in it on a bias, and you would slot the
Branches.
branches into it. And of course, as the tree aged, the holes in the stick would start to get big, and then the tree would start to go, it would start to droop. But we would put in these branches, and they had like pom-poms on the end of it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Right, a little pom-pom
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
end. And the top branch, which would stick straight up, was called, do you know what it was called?
No, what?
The king branch.
Why? Is
Because
that something you made up?
No, it said it had a sleeve. It came in like a paper sleeve, and it said king branch, and that was the one that you put on the top of the tree.
Why couldn't it be a queen branch?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
equal rights.
If
I'm a feminist,
if it were a
you
queen
know?
branch, maybe it would have been smaller.
Now, there you go. We're going to get into trouble
The
here.
king. All that I'm saying is the king branch went on the top of the tree,
Okay.
and then my mother would have me position the color wheel
Just right.
just right, because you had to get just the right angle, and then we would fire that thing up, and it would spin around slowly, and the wheel would turn, and the branches would take on all of these colors and reflect them around the room, and it was a joy to behold. We had it in a rotating Christmas tree stand, and when you turned the stand on, it played Jingle Bells.
Well, I can't top that.
Boom!
I can't top that
is
one.
a Christmas tree, my friends.
I cannot top that one.
So there you go. A little glimpse into our Christmases growing up, and my vote for the best Christmas tree you're ever going to have. And they still make the color wheels,
Wonderful.
although they're expensive. I saw a color wheel today for something like $80.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Well, it was high tech. It was probably a high tech color wheel or something. Some special kind of Fresnel lens or something. I don't know. So that's it, folks. That's our Christmas edition of Pete and Maureen mixing it up. Don't forget to write to us. Tell us what you think. Tell us about Christmas growing up in your house at Pete and Maureen Podcast at yahoo.com. And until our next podcast in about a week, I'm Pete.
And I'm Maureen.
And bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.